All right, guys, I'm here with a good friend of mine, Devin Burke, who is a health and performance coach. He is the sleep expert, one of the top searched health experts in the United States. I've been learning so much from him today. We've been shooting videos, and we're privileged to have his expertise today. He's going to teach us all about sleep, the importance of sleep, and how it's going to transform your health in every single area of your life. So, Devin, give the audience a brief description of who you are, what you're up to, and how you got started into sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you the quick version of the story. Been studying, health and performance for over 10 years, and started out really studying the physical body, exercise science, and then got into nutrition, then got into mindset, and then it was really recently, I would say in the last year, that I discovered the importance of sleep and the link between sleep, health, and performance. And once I really started to dive into that science of how all of this kind of connects, how sleep affects your nutrition, how sleep affects your mindset, how sleep affects every aspect of your life, your relationships, your productivity, I got kind of obsessed about sleep and dove deep into the science of sleep and why it's so important and how do you optimize it, how do you, cure and get over insomnia without sleeping pills. And it just led me down this road of really understanding, hey, what are the steps? How do you serve and help people that have sleep issues? And it's about 40 million Americans.
Wow.
So it's a lot of people are really suffering because they're not either getting the sleep they need or they're not making sleep a priority.
Yeah. Sleep is so important as you're understanding here. It's the foundation that health is built on, like you talked about earlier. Yeah. And without it, every single area of your life collapses in terms of your health. If somebody comes to you, a potential client, they're like, Devin, I need help with my health. Should I fix my nutrition first? Should I go to the gym first? Or should I fix my sleep first? What would you tell them?
Awesome question. And I'm so glad you asked. Like you said, sleep is the foundation. And I would say, let's dial in your sleep first. And the reason for that is because, like I said, sleep affects your nutrition. Sleep affects, your energy, which is going to affect your ability to recover if you're working out. So it is the foundation, So, if we're talking about the three main pillars of health, yes, sleep, nutrition, and movement, that if you don't have that foundation solid, it's the other two are going to be weak, So it's, again, it's one of these things that is often overlooked and taken for granted and not really even thought twice about, but it's just one of these things that when you really start to dial it in, like everything gets better. Literally everything gets better in your life and in your health, from a cellular standpoint, from a longevity standpoint, from a memory standpoint, from a performance standpoint, from an energetic standpoint. I mean, literally everything gets better.
Wow. I'm sold. Okay, before we get into some tips on how to get better sleep starting tonight, which is going to give you some golden pearls with that, can you just paint the picture on how dangerous it is to be sleep deprived in terms of longevity, right? In terms of like what it does to us and how it's aging us when we're not getting quality sleep.
Sure. So we were just kind of talking before this interview about what it does to your telomeres. Literally shrinks your telomere.
What are telomeres?
So telomeres are for your longevity and your DNA. And when your telomeres are shrinking, that means you're aging. Yep. The quicker you age, the quicker your life's going to end, right? So it's really important when you think of brain performance, when you think of, mitigating dementia, mitigating Alzheimer's, which are huge issues today with people getting these two brain disorders. It's linked to sleep, lack of sleep. And so when you're not getting that sleep, your memory's not being consolidated, your long-term memory, your short-term memory is not going to the long-term memory storage sites, and you're gonna have a problem. And literally, if we're talking longevity, it's one of the biggest factors as far as from, hey, what is one or two things that I could do to extend my life? It's get enough sleep, right? So when you're not doing that, especially from a brain standpoint, that's when you're really going to start to, you might not even be aware right now that you're operating at maybe 60, 70% of your cognitive performance, because that's your baseline, right? So most people think, I have pretty clear thinking. I do pretty good. My memory is pretty sharp. But most likely, if you're not getting optimal sleep, you're operating maybe 70% of what's possible for you. And you don't know until you really end up shifting gears and getting into those deeper levels of quality sleep.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. So he's creating this awareness that, hey, you fix your sleep and you upgrade from 70 or whatever percentage you're at to 100%.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important to know your baseline. And most people, now we have amazing tracking devices like the Oura Ring, which is what I use in my sleep program. Or there's Sleep Cycle, which is an awesome app. There's all different types of apps that actually can measure the quality of our sleep, because it's not just about quantity of sleep. It's also about quality of sleep. So deep sleep, super, super important.
What happens in deep sleep?
Great question. Deep sleep is, honestly, it's probably all of them are important, right? Every stage of sleep is important, but deep sleep is one of the areas that most people don't get enough of. And in deep sleep, what's happening, our body's actually recovering. That's when we're producing growth hormone. That's when our hormone, literally just in layman's terms, a flush goes over our brain kind of shrinks. This glymphatic system in our brain, it's like a lymph system, not to get too technical here, but it washes the toxins out of our brain during deep sleep. So when you're not getting deep sleep, what's happening is you're not detoxing your brain, essentially. Your body's not recovering. Your growth hormone, your testosterone. There's a study done that actually showed that men that don't get into deep sleep have smaller testicles.
Wow.
So it's serious. I mean, it's a massive, massive problem when you're not getting into deep sleep. But again, like I said, it's just as important to get REM sleep and to get that, the other stages of sleep as well. But deep sleep definitely is one of the areas that most people don't get enough of.
Yeah, and I'm going to put everything he mentioned, like the Oura Ring link and the Sleep Cycle, is that what it's called?
Yeah, Sleep Cycle app is a great one.
In the description below. Also, Devin's information below, which he'll share at the end. Now, we talked about why sleep is so important. I hope you understand that it is important. What are some ways for the audience watching this right now to get better sleep starting tonight? They don't have to buy a whole bunch of fancy equipment. You don't have to buy this, but what are some practical steps they could do tonight?
Yeah, I would say a couple things. We'll just go through a few of them, a few of the big ones. The first one is, making sure you're managing your light exposure, blue light, from your cell phone, from your computer, from your devices. The reason for that is we have these cells in our eyes called myopsin cells, and that produces melatonin, which is a hormone. And what happens is the brain gets tricked to thinking that it's still daylight, so it doesn't start to trigger the production of melatonin, which is why it affects our sleep. So shutting down your computer an hour or getting off your phone or wearing some blue light blocking glasses at the very least definitely is going to help improve your sleep, 110%. I've done tracking personally and experimented with this. It makes a huge difference. Yeah. So that would be step one. Step two would be really having a routine, what I call like a wind down routine or a bedtime ritual where you're preparing your body and mind to rest. You're going all day, you're thinking, your body is in a state of constant kind of, stress throughout the day. You need to kind of switch gears and give your body a chance to kind of get into that parasympathetic rest and digest, sequence. Yeah. And so taking a hot shower, making some tea, maybe doing some yoga, some stretching, maybe some meditation, getting yourself away from electronics, just giving your body and mind a chance to just settle down will make a massive difference if you commit to that. Those two things alone could literally transform your sleep. There's a ton of other things we could talk about, and I'll share maybe just one more.
Yeah, please.
Meal timing is a big one. So oftentimes people eat way too late at night, and that affects your sleep. So you want to ideally have at least a 3-hour kind of window between the last meal that you eat and you being in bed. That's really, really important. And these are just 3 of the most simplest sort of basic, sleep strategies and techniques. There's another technique which I did a video on called sleep restriction or sleep scheduling, which is really geared more towards people that either have issues getting or staying asleep or they're insomniacs, but super, super effective. It's kind of limiting the time that you're in bed so that you're getting higher quality sleep when you're in bed. So it's a kind of a complicated technique, but it's very effective.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, those are just some of the things. You know, those three things that I shared. I think if people listening to this, if they just started with those three things, it would make I know it would make a massive difference in their, not only the quality of their sleep, but also just their life in general.
Yeah, those are all free tips. You know, you don't have to buy a whole bunch of supplements for that. You get to bed, turn the lights off, you have a nighttime routine, maybe you have sex with your wife or your husband. Like, these are things that anybody can do for free. And what you said earlier, that it's common knowledge, but it's not common practice. Is that what you said?
Yeah, common sense isn't common practice.
Yeah, and it's so true. So now you have the tools, but it's up to you to take action. Look, this guy is a rock star. I saw him record videos all day long today. The sleep schedule technique that he talked about, if you do have insomnia, this technique is phenomenal. It sounds counterintuitive because you're spending less time in bed, but the approach is brilliant. So if you want to learn more about that or anything that he just taught about and everything that he's up to, where can they find you, Devin?
Yeah, so you can find me at devinburke.com. That's the website. Devin Burke on YouTube, Devin Burke Wellness on Instagram. And but pretty much my main website, devinburke.com. That'll lead you to, I have a great sleep masterclass. So you guys can get that for free if you visit the website. But hey man, thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Yeah, you got it. Go to devinburke.com, get this guy's information. Have a great day.